Okay, when we look at how your knee tracks, this is an exercise, but it's also a really good assessment tool to kind of see where that compensation is coming from. So when your hamstring acts more like a garter and less like a mover, our lower leg tracks funky. So this will kind of help teach that proper tracking, but it'll also show you if you tend to compensate up and through your hip. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the band right at your knee, and the farther you stretch, the more awareness you'll feel. But the first thing you want to notice is when you're sitting here, can you relax up here? So are you kind of like reacting to that pull? Because it creates traction at your hip, and is your body able to relax into that traction? If it's not able to relax into that traction, then I would suggest looking further up the chain, because your knee is stressed out based on what your hip wants to do. That doesn't mean you don't need to teach your knee how to track, but it is definitely being affected by what's happening up above, okay? So the main focus on this is you want to keep this pulling, and your lineup is important, because if you slightly change it so that the pull is a little bit in or the pull is a little bit out, it's going to activate the inside and outside of your hip. So we want to stay directly lined up as best we can, okay? So what you're going to do is slide your foot along the floor, okay? And now and you're just making sure that you keep equal weight over your bum and that you're not needing to move through your butt cheeks to slide your leg. So nothing should move other than this leg sliding along the floor, okay? So you want to make sure that your hip, your knee, and your foot stay lined up as it slides. Now, this won't feel like a ton of work. It's going to feel freeing if it's a tracking problem. It's going to feel good, right? You can't really overdo this, right? You might even feel a little bit of work in weird places, but not a stress, not a strain, okay? A good little assessment you can do is if you take that tubing and you put it down at your ankle and you slide along the floor, and if you feel work anywhere else but the back of your leg, you have a tracking problem, okay? So what should happen when you have the tubing at your ankle is that your hamstring should be doing the work, which is the back of your leg, okay? So until you can get hamstring down there, you should be doing this. So the minute most people go down here, and you'll feel like this, you'll feel like your leg wants to hover, you're going to feel strained in the front, okay? The muscle that bends your knee is your hamstrings, okay? If you change this down the lever arm, which just makes your hamstring work harder, and it shows up somewhere else, then your hamstring is not doing what it's meant to do, okay? So what you would do is slide here, right? Making sure that your foot is relaxed, right? You might even feel a little bit of life back there, but nothing crazy. Your main focus is to make sure that your butt cheeks don't change, okay? And then you can slowly work your way down, okay? And my band wants to curl, so how you stop your band from curling is literally put a face cloth behind, just because of the shape of our calf. So if I had a face cloth, I'd put it where the band is. And you want to slide, so you're educating that knee to glide properly so that your hamstring turns into a functioning muscle and not a guarding muscle, okay? And then switch to the other side. So usually if we have one side that's trouble, when we switch to the other side, you're gonna really feel, I gotta get my line up, you're gonna really feel the difference of how easy one is versus the other and how different, right? You might not even notice your need to use that hip, right? So I suggest do both sides, take note, and then this is teaching you how to track properly, and then you can bring some function into it in other ways.